Hello, this is Angelo Lambropoulos, Director of Lambros Realty, and you're watching the 13th episode of FAQu, Frequently Asked Questions, in which we answer for you as the consumer. A question we get asked a lot, and something I want to obviously answer for you guys watching out there, is how much value does a granny flat add to a property? Okay, so look, it's a very broad question, and it's very predominantly area specific. So what the answer I'm going to give you today is obviously very generalized, and there are a lot of different variables. But I'm hoping this can help steer you in the right direction. And obviously, you're more than welcome to contact me, guys. Contact me if you want to discuss this further. So I guess just getting straight into it, on average it costs about $120,000 to build a good granny flat, and I would strongly advise building a good solid granny flat, and I'll get to that later on. And on average you can expect to receive about 15% yield on that. So on average what I'm getting at there is per week you'd be looking at about $380 per week. Now, suburb dependent, it can be anywhere between $200 to $600 per week. So, obviously that's a very average figure there. Now, I guess when we look at it from a sales perspective, if you're looking at selling the property and you're putting a granny flat thinking that's going to enhance the value, it's something I'd urge to exercise with caution. Okay, so what I mean is this. If your property needs work and you're thinking of putting a granny flat in as opposed to doing work to your actual property, I would advise spending money on the property as opposed to putting a granny flat in order to better enhance its saleability. The other thing I would also consider is with a granny flat, you want to make sure it doesn't monster your backyard. So you don't want to have two dwellings and there's no backyard or anything to do there, because people want backyard and a bit of living space as well. So if you're appealing to an owner-occupier, the granny flat certainly isn't going to do you any favors. Now, the other thing as well, if you are looking at a granny flat in order to enhance value for your property, you want to make sure it's a suburb where granny flats aren't common. Okay, but at the same token, you want to make sure it's a suburb in which it appeals to investors. Because you'll tick both boxes. Now that's the art, very tricky, highly difficult, but that's the art to a successful sale with a granny flat there. But again, as I said, there's many different variables. I mean, there's areas out there where granny flats are quite common. Just off the top of my head, thinking of areas such as Seven Hills, Blacktown. Quite a few granny flats and very popular amongst investors and generating great yields, yes. But what you'll find is from a saleability perspective as time goes on, if somebody is looking to purchase a family home and wants gardens for their kids, the property in Seven Hills or Blacktown that has the land area will be the one that'll appeal and will command the higher price. Again, it comes down to supply and demand. So that's just, a general idea and generally speaking. So a lot of research required into doing it. Don't just jump straight in without doing the number crunching first. But on average, as I said, if definitely go for it. If you're in an area where it's not too common, appeals to investors, you will get a strong yield. It will be saleable. Don't monster your backyard. And at the same token, if your house needs work, spend time and money on the house as opposed to putting the granny flat in. So I hope I've answered the question there. If you have any further questions or want to discuss this topic in further detail, perhaps there was a finer element I didn't touch on which you'd like clarity on, you can email me on info@lambrosrealty.com.au. You can call our office on 0286287128, or simply come visit our office at Apple Tree Shops Cherrybrook, which is 132 Shepherds Drive, Cherrybrook. So thanks for watching. Angelo Lambropoulos, Director of Lambros Realty, and I'll see you again next week.